Welcome to the Surrogates Corner with James Mahan.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Surrogates Corner. My name is James Mahan. I'm an attorney, and I advocate for donors and surrogates during their journeys. The question often comes up, how do I prepare for my surrogacy contract review? If you're getting this video, hopefully you're at the legal phase now, or someone sent it to you so that you can get prepared for your own contract review. I just wanted to go over some of the big highlights so you kind of know what to expect, what things you're looking for, maybe how to guide you through looking at your contract and what to be paying attention to. So let's go. The first big thing, your surrogacy contract. The attorney working with you is probably going to send it to you by email, ask you to read through it, and then schedule a time to go over it with them. If you're working with me, I'll be sending you a link to my calendar. I will give you the option if you want to do a phone call review or a Zoom call to do that. The purpose for that is not so I can look at your house or whatever else. I'm just trying to give you the option to see the contract as I go over it with you. If you feel like you don't want to deal with that, you don't have the time for it, you got kids to take care of, and you got to do this in the car when you're on your way to school or work, totally fine. Phone calls work great. What we're going to do is I'm going to assume that you have read the contract when we get to that review. Now, these will be between 30 and 60-page contracts. Some of them are kind of full with legalese and terms and things that you may not be used to. Most of the big ideas are going to be relatively obvious. We're getting you pregnant, their embryo, carrying their baby for them. They take it, they name it, they raise it. You have no obligations to the baby once baby's born. There's no custody, no visitation, no child support obligations. You're not helping pay for college. You're just helping them build their family. So a lot of the stuff about who baby belongs to is going to seem kind of straightforward and simple. You're carrying a baby that they're going to take, and that's kind of it. Where the details come in are usually around the things that I kind of call the 3 or 4 T's. So the first one is travel. You will notice that your contract will normally limit your travel in and around the pregnancy. Usually we keep you close to home in the first part of the pregnancy. After that, as long as your OB is okay with you traveling, we let you go, usually in the continental US, most places. We try to avoid international travel at all possible if we can. And then towards the end of the pregnancy, we do like to keep you in a closer radius to your delivery hospital just in case you deliver early. So if you have specific travel things that you need to do for work, school, kid stuff, travel sports, make sure you let your attorney know that so we can verify that you have the kind of freedom and flexibility to move out the country when you need to during that journey. The next one comes to transfers. Most clinics are going to do what's called a single embryo transfer. That just means that when we do a scheduled transfer for you, we're only going to give you one embryo. Double embryo transfers carry a lot higher risk of a multiple pregnancy, higher risk for C-sections, higher risk for early delivery. So if you guys and your IP or IPs are talking about doing a double embryo transfer, you just want to make sure that there are some kind of provisions in there that would gear towards maybe comping you a little bit more for multiple or a C-section, because the likelihood of having them is much, much higher. The other one comes down to tests and procedures. Generally, your contract's going to say, if your OB or midwife thinks you need to do a test, go see a specialist, have a certain procedure done, you're kind of willing to do it. There are some things in there with shots, vaccinations, certain test procedures, amnios. If you have very, very specific things that you want to make sure you either do or don't have to do, please go over those with your attorney so they can make sure that's in your contract. Another one is termination, both of the pregnancy and of the contract itself. When termination comes into play, the nice thing with surrogacy is we do not usually have any unplanned pregnancies. The default language in your contract will normally say if there's a medical or health risk for you as the surrogate, then the decision to terminate or not rests with you and your doctors. That will stay kind of within your wheelhouse to decide. On the other hand, if there's a problem going on with the baby, developmentally, chromosomally, some other kind of issue that's there, that's where we say we'll defer to what the intended parents would like us to do. If you live in a state with very restrictive termination or abortion laws, your contract will normally say that you're willing to travel somewhere else. Just keep in mind that a lot of times the contract will then say wherever you go to have a procedure done, that state's laws will govern how far along you can be in the pregnancy to have a termination carried out. Now, there are some states like Oregon, Colorado, New Jersey that have very, very lax standards on what we can do for terminations, almost up to delivery time period. So just be aware of that. If you have certain things in there in terms of when you're willing to terminate or what for, or what you're not willing to terminate for, again, great things to go over with your attorney to make sure that's in the contract for you so we don't run into that problem at week 18 when we're doing those scans and tests. The last one is the termination of the contract. The contract's going to normally say that we will do maybe up to 3 transfers, sometimes 4, typically within a year, 18 months. You're not required to do 3 or 4 transfers. It will normally say that if, the contract will stay alive for as long as you, the IPs, and the doctors still think it's a good idea. However, if you life gets in the way, if you do a transfer, you don't like the way it felt, or something else comes up and you just can't be a surrogate, they can't force you to take an embryo and get pregnant. But we don't have to do the contract review experience, as delightful as that might be, all over again, just because we're doing another transfer for you. Where you also want to look is there normally will be language in there that says if you as the surrogate decide to walk away after you sign the contract and you never do a single embryo transfer, meaning you never do the first transfer that we were hoping to do. If that happens because of a personal I don't feel like doing this for any reason, again, they can't make you take the embryo. They can ask you to start reimbursing costs at that point because the IPs have poured money into you, screening, contract reviews, psych. And if you're going to walk away for a non-personal or non-medical emergency reason, most of the times the contract's going to ask you to kind of give some of that money back that you may have already collected. Lastly, if there are any other things that you think are specific to you, things that are very important that you want to make sure are in there, again, I will try to highlight those for you, the things that I think typically come up. Other attorneys will just say, do you have questions? It's not you're not wrong for having questions or having concerns. Even they're just hey, what happens if this goes on? Or do I have to do these tests? Or what does this look like? Make sure you ask those questions so we can get your contract kind of buttoned up and nice and tight for you throughout the journey. We would love to take care of that at the contract review phase before we sign, not deal with those issues afterwards. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, emails, text, use my website, whatever you need to do. I'm easy to find. Like I said, if I'm working with you, I look forward to talking to you in a couple of days, hopefully, when we do our contract review. And if there are any questions I can help answer, my website is full of information. My YouTube channel is there. Feel free to reach out. Wishing you guys all the best with your journeys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.